Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion. Plays the Binding of Isaac AFTERBIRTH Plus. It's me. We got 21 wins in a row. Last one, a little spicy at times, but don't let it get you down. Sacred Heart, oh my god. 4 GSR, 4 11R. Everything is, I mean, come on. Look at it. Are you kidding me, man? What can you say about this run? We got one of the best offensive items in the game, and on top of that, we got 4 HP. And even still, I found a way to get hit, but that's alright. We also have Book of the Dead, which is one of the best spacebar items in the game. This is one of those runs where you just look at it and go, you know what? If we could stop getting hit, then we're looking pretty good. I don't know, I think it's that I'm not used to the shot speed. I'm not used to our shot speed at this level being so low. I'm getting way too into the mix. I'm too excited. I'm losing my mind. Okay, there you go. A little Spirit Heart action doesn't hurt. I'm also... Okay, well, that makes my job easier. I'm also wondering why every enemy doesn't die in one hit. But that's because, you know, we're doing a lot of damage, but we're not doing so much damage as to become, you know, Death Destroyer of Worlds yet. But we're working on it, okay? We're gonna get there. I mean, this run is there. It doesn't have to get there. It just, I'm trying to lead my shots here, but you know, we don't, it's a 2D game. We only got 4 axes we can shoot on right now. Anyway, it's good. Today is a Thursday. I've leaned into this, like, new wake-up schedule. For the first time in 3 years, I moved my alarm clock back half an hour. Or forward half an hour. I don't know. When it comes to the temporal directions, I try not to get, you know, too directional. You know how it is. When I used to talk with Professor Hawking, God rest him, we would have these discussions long into the night over the nature of time and whether it's cyclical or it twists in on itself like a Mobius strip, or if it's more like, you know, just one axis that moves left to right, you know, forwards and backwards. But anyway, we're all on the same page there. Obviously, I don't want to repeat myself, so let's just move onwards. We're going to hope that we get an arcade on the next floor. Yeah, there you go. Today's Thursday. Normally I don't record too much on a Thursday, but because I've been waking up earlier, I got a little bit more time on Thursday, and quite frankly, Thursdays are Dark Souls 2 days, and I would like to start streaming Dark Souls 2 earlier. Part of the reason is so I can have a longer stream, and part of the reason, I'll admit, is so that we can finish Dark Souls 2 faster. It'll be finished in, you know, the same amount of hours, but by putting in a little bit of extra time, you know, we'll be able to clear it off the slate a little bit faster and move on to other stuff because it's substantially longer than I remember. Anyway, life goes on. I'm still having a good time with Dark Souls 2. Oh, that's a double tinted rock. But I will definitely tell you. That I am in the camp that is for sure my least favorite. Worst is up to you. Is my least favorite Souls game of them all. This is a weird one, huh? I'll tell you, I think we take The Gift, starring Katie Holmes. Now, that didn't work out too well, but it was, you know, we were playing the percentages, we were working on the margins there. I thought that The Gift had a chance to give us some stats that might be a little bit more meaningful than just picking up Potato Peeler, which admittedly does give you damage, which is one of the best stats of them all. But Potato Peeler, I don't really feel like we need an orbital that much because we have Book of the Dead. I think we're kind of in the clear here to just keep things going as they are and just focus on getting our raw stats up there. I mean, why am I even talking Isaac, dude? We're set. So yeah, that's my new Thursday philosophy. Just in general, you know, I wouldn't say trying to stream a bit more. What I would say is, there are days in my work schedule where I have the choice between maybe taking 3 hours to backlog a series and taking 3 hours to add a little bit of stream time. And usually, people have opinions about this, but usually backlogging, for me, is the right play. And if you don't think that it is, I understand. What I would also ask you to understand is the fact that I've been doing this for, you know, nearly a decade, and The one thing people admire, along with my references to early 2000s new metal, is consistency. And that consistency is a hallmark of the channel that is a direct result of being able to... Oh, I will take that, though. I mean, I didn't want an orbital, but come on, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Either way. Where was I going with this? There is an exception, though. Normally, I like the backlog so I can maintain the degree and, you know, amount of work that I've been trying to do and, you know, that I'm comfortable with doing without either burning out or burning you out as a viewer by releasing too much content. But today, I mean, we got like an 8 backlog Monster Train. We got like an 8 backlog Isaac. The Golden Goblet's already been recorded. Northernlion tries is unbackloggable. Kind of waiting on new releases for that whenever possible. It doesn't always work out that way, but that's the idea. So today maybe we can fit in a little extra. Plus, you know, Thursday is now my only solo stream day. We were doing a lot of Wednesday solo streams for a while. But now I'm like, it's constantly a rebalance, you know? When I was doing too much solo stuff, both me and a lot of the audience were like, we'd like to see more co-op stuff and more collaborative stuff. So now we've been doing more collaborative stuff. Robert's got his computer back. Post-Unity, Malf and I have been streaming baseball. And, it's been really good, but now on Thursdays, I'm like, it's my only solo stream day. I don't want to just stream Dark Souls 2, because I don't like it that much. But I am going to beat it, and not out of some weird, you know, machismo. More like, you know, we've come so far, and I think there's value in finishing a project. Let me put it that way. I think there's value in discipline to be gleaned from seeing something through that you start with, and you can learn that lesson in one of two ways. One lesson would be more careful about projects that you start. The other lesson would be, you know, hey, now you got the skills to see it through in the future. Speed down, gulp, amnesia, something's wrong, tears down. Beautiful, really nice selection of pharmaceuticals there. So are the pills, like, let's just be honest, let's pull the mask off. The pills are just put in the game to troll you, huh? Like, that's where we're at now with Isaac 2020. You can say it. You can say, I'm not gonna be mad. Brittle Bones at least allows us to get our tears up. Could you hit me, please? If I just want you to hit me, like, it shouldn't be that hard. Well, you know what? We've been to our item room. With amnesia, I'm out of here. It is Brittle Bones, right? I think it's Brittle Bones. Basically... Oh, we lost all of our red hearts, though. Still, I want the tears upgrades. There you go. It's just a matter of how deep you want to go on them. For sure, I would be comfortable losing another bone heart. If it helps out our rate of fire that much. It's like the only time in my entire life I've ever been like, could you just give me some spikes? Or like a bomb so I can blow myself up? It's just... That's all I need. But anyway, yeah, that's my content philosophy right now. I'm excited, you know, on Sunday, this Sunday, which is probably like, you know, close to a week ago, if not more, for those of you watching, gonna start playing Deadly Premonition 2. I love Deadly Premonition 1. I will say, I'm already annoyed at the Deadly Premonition 2 discourse, in spite of the fact that I have not played it. It has been getting, and I gotta tell you, not only do I like Deadly Premonition 2, I loved, whatever the heck, Dark Dreams Don't Die, that's what it's called. Even though it's unfinished, I thought that its unique brand of insanity was, made it a worthwhile experience regardless. However, a lot of the comments on reviews of Deadly Premonition 2 are from people who clearly got the first game. People who clearly understood, like, hey, it's campy, and that's almost all of the fun in the game, is the campy nature, because it's sure as heck ain't the gameplay. But they've been bringing up, like, genuinely valid complaints. Like, hey, the game runs routinely at, like, 5 frames a second. And then so many people have been replying to these reviews and just going like, LOL, that owns, you know, Deadly Premonition, stay winning, haha, like, literally, like, technical problems with the game. They're like, this is making the game better. And I really think that there's some brain poisoning going on. Don't get me wrong. Jank is one of those things that Deadly Premonition, you know, it brings some of the enjoyment to Deadly Premonition. For sure. I'm going to do this one more time, by the way, and then I'm tapped. That's a really nice rate of fire with Sacred Heart. I think we got a good balance here. But the jank was more like, hey, you know, the dialogue is the way that two human beings would never ever talk to each other. Or would you look at this like this cutscene or this mechanic is weird? Stuff like that. It was not like, hey, the frame rate is, you know, it varies between 5 and 20 frames per second. Even saw some people be like, I don't care about frame rate. I don't care if it's 60 FPS. I couldn't agree with you more. Like, if it was 30 FPS consistently, that would be excusable. The fact that it goes down to, like, the single digits or full stutters for several seconds in some of the clips that I saw is a little bit more inexcusable, quite frankly. I actually don't think we take that. I think we go down. Mostly because I can't see and I'm annoyed. How about that? We got most of what we wanted from this floor, I think. We just want really to go to a shop that doesn't have greed and then get some red hearts, I think is what takes us to the next level here. But I think it's the same. I've seen it happen before with like movies that are so bad they're good. You know, people think Deadly Premonition, the objectively worse it gets, the better it is. I don't think that's the case. I think Deadly Premonition 1 is a game where it had some technical problems. I only played the Switch version, which apparently is like, it runs worse than the 360 version that originally came out in like 2007 or 2008. But it was a story so insane that you were willing to deal with the technical problems, and in some way the technical problems at least added to the ambiance, if that makes sense. But that has been twisted over the years of people, you know, like talking about this game. This is just my opinion for the record, but it's been twisted over the years into people being like, everything bad about this game is actually good, which I do not think is the case. Like an objectively bad frame rate or something like that. It reminds me of I didn't finish my point earlier, but like so bad it's good movies, you know? There are, you know, movies like The Room. They're bad, don't get me wrong. Pretty much objectively not a conventionally good movie. Would The Room be better if it was shot in a resolution you've never seen before that made it impossible to see what was happening in the frame? My argument would be no, but I think some people would just be like, that adds to the worstness, which adds to the goodness, which I disagree with wholeheartedly, quite frankly. But anyway, we're going to give it a try anyway, because I love Deadly Premonition 1, and if the frame rate ends up being trash, then, you know, we'll try to see it through regardless, assuming it doesn't make me want to vomit. And I do want to play the story as well, but I'm stunned by the people online that are like, you know, it owns. Like, so one dude was like, check out how badly Deadly Premonition runs, this is inexcusable. There were people in his mentions being like, how dare you call yourself a journalist? And yet you don't understand. What a strange room, by the way. You don't understand that Deadly Premonition's badness is its goodness. I just think, like, you lost the plot. If you're thinking that, I think you've lost the plot. I think you're letting mediocrity get away. You're letting them get away with mediocrity, let's put it that way. It certainly would not be a worse game if it ran adequately. And if it would be, then maybe, like, you know, it's kind of not worth it in the first place. And I'm not saying Deadly Premonition's not worth it. Deadly Premonition is definitely worth it. But if it ran at 5 frames per second, I might start to question that. I might start to reconsider. But anyway, we'll see. I'm not anti-Deadly Premonition 2. I'm very excited to play it. I was just, I mean, it's one of my pet peeves. When, you know, Someone who's clearly like a fan of something. It happens now and then with like Marvel movies, for example. Someone who's clearly a fan of something sees the next entry in the series before other people and is like, hey, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but, you know, I love the original, but the sequel is a little bit funky. And then people that have not seen it but have like posted about it on forums for like 10 years are like, you don't get it. No, you don't get it. You haven't played it. Whether or not you like what Swery does as a designer and as a, you know, as a social media personality, you know, I think it bears... Oh, no, don't go in there. I think it bears mentioning that, you know, even a game renowned for idiosyncratic jank should aspire to a base level of competence from a technical standpoint. But, you know, there's a surprising amount of people, maybe it's not surprising anymore, but there's a large amount of people who are like, if I see other people mad, I'm winning. So I think that is an element of that. I don't know, man. I'm always in. Let's make it an industry thing, okay? Let's do it. It's an industry episode. When people who work in the industry care about the industry, I'm like, that's cool. You know, you're doing something you're passionate about. And I don't mean games. What I mean is the industry of games. How games are perceived by media. You know, hey, you reviewer, you gave this a 6 out of 10. It actually deserves a 6.5. Hey, reviewer, you gave this a 10. It actually deserves a 0. Like, when people get off on that stuff, when they have those discussions and they're in the industry, although albeit much more politely, I'm like, you know what? That's cool that they're passionate about this stuff because they're doing it. When somebody, like, doesn't work in the industry, but they comment on industry stuff all the time, I'm like, brother, what are you doing? I'm not saying, like, you're a hypocrite. I'm not saying get a job in the industry. All I'm saying is, like, wait, why are you doing mercenary work for free? Like, why? I guess I am saying, I'm like, get a job for whatever company you stay in, if possible. Because it just, I'm not saying that caring about things is bad. It's really quite the opposite. It's more like, you know, if you care about it so much, you should, I guess, get involved. Or, like, I don't know. I just feel here's the thing. I have a stronger opinion about it, but I'm kind of beating around the bush. I think, you know, you care about what you care about. Caring about games is cool. This game's fun. This game is not fun. I don't really like what this game did. This game I'm approaching at, like, a literary criticism level. I'm treating it as art. This game, oh, it's like trash, but I love it, you know? I think that sort of discussion is cool. But, like, when you haven't played something and a reviewer has, and you're like, this reviewer's an idiot, I think you gotta, you know, re-examine your relationship with fandom, I guess is what I would go with there. I'm not saying Swery doesn't care about you. I'm just saying, you know, maybe at least play the game first and then be like, I disagree. Instead, it's always like, you know, Senator Armstrong memes from Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, and I'm like, what happened? just chill out a little bit. We can talk to each other as human beings. And this is not even, I'm not venting for me because I haven't even played the game. And I'm savvy enough that if I play Deadly Premonition 2, for the most part, I'm just going to be like, no matter what, as long as it has the charm of the original, I can get over technical issues and I'll be like, I'm pogging up. But you ever hear the expression, like, good fences make for good neighbors? I've been thinking about it. I've been meditating on it with respect to social media. I feel like Twitter in particular and Facebook, I guess, have essentially removed fences the world over. And if good fences make for good neighbors, what do no fences and 7 billion neighbors make for? That's where I've gotten in my treatise. I'll be working with Professor Chomsky to prepare an essay on this post haste. It'll be published in, I don't know, we're shopping it around. Either The Economist or Harper's Bazaar. We're not sure yet. We'll see who's desperate. I have a lot of sympathy for games reviewers. They get mocked mercilessly, even by people who are otherwise like pretty civil. Mostly because I think it becomes like a meme, you know? IGN has like one review written by one person that's like 7 out of 10, too much water. And then for like a decade, people are like, lol, too much water for it. I've been guilty of it too. I'm not going to say I'm innocent in this situation. I'm not above minding something for a cheap laugh and then feeling a little bit of remorse for it later. But I'm here to tell you, like, games reviewers make very little money. Largely got into it because, you know, they were extremely passionate about games as a kid and then pursued it, you know, probably spent way too much on, well, not all of them have, you know, relevant degrees, but went to college and spent way more money than is probably sensible on getting a degree in, you know, literature or classics or even outright journalism, and then are working in the field, like, for the love of the game. And then anytime you know, maybe not even make like a slip up, but anytime people disagree with you, they're like, you know, they go for the jugular. They're like, you wouldn't understand because you live in, you know, Los Angeles. I'm just, I got a lot of sympathy. I mean, dude, being a YouTuber is easy. Sincerely very simple. Like, I can't imagine being like a games journalist, being assigned to review The Last of Us 2, playing through that gargantuan game over the course of like a week or two, which is already like 40 or 50 hours, maybe in and of itself, and then you wouldn't necessarily even be paid to play the game, if that makes sense. It depends on the outlet. You know, some outlets are like, we pay 50 bucks per review, so you're getting paid about $1 an hour to play the game, which, if you're like, that sounds awesome, because you're playing games. Or if you're like, well, it doesn't matter, though, because they're getting the game for free. I'm like, yeah, but you're still, like, doing the job. If that makes sense. And then, so you publish your review, and if you give it a 7 or an 8 out of 10, you get beset on all sides by people with Joel avatars being like, I'm gonna find you. And if you give it, like, a 10 out of 10, you get beset on all sides by people with a completely different type of avatar, being like, how dare you think this is good, lol, like, can you blah blah, you know, etc, etc. Just sounds exhausting, dude. Just play Isaac, forehead. That's my thoughts on that subject. Oh, if you'll excuse me, there's someone at the door. I'm back. Let's go. Where were we? We were moving on to the cathedral. I was just about to mention my HP situation. I think it's completely fine, but it's giving me just a slight degree of pause, if that makes sense. Anyway, we're moving on here. I'm very thankful to never review games. Like, to be honest, I'm a very soft critic, but it's by design. Like, when I get a code for a game, and this is, I think this is not dishonest to the audience, you know, this is how we've positioned the show, like, particularly Northernlion tries over the past year. I don't really enter that show with the idea of, like, you know, if this game's a piece of crap, we're gonna, like, eviscerate it, you know? For a couple of reasons. One is, there's already a lot of shows like that. One is, I think that the purpose of the series is for entertainment, but it's also to showcase cool new stuff that you might not have seen before. So if a game, I really, and I've said this before, particularly like on Roundtable, the podcast that we used to do, I've said this before on many occasions. How you run your YouTube presence and Twitch presence is completely up to you. But I always found it mean-spirited when YouTubers would deliberately search out games nobody would have ever heard of were it not for this YouTuber, and we're like, check out how ridiculously bad this game is, and then mind it for, like, in my opinion, self-righteously, in the position they would be like, can you believe they're charging money for this? They're trying to extort their consumers, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, nobody, this game would have sold 0 copies. It would have had 0 reviews on Steam were it not for this video in the first place. So, anyway, I mean, that's my thoughts on that. I've made that known many times in the past. So for me, I'm more like, hey, if something's a piece of crap and nobody's ever heard of it, I would rather just not cover it on Northernlion Tries than be like, check out this piece of garbage that I'm spotlighting for no reason except to make myself look good, I guess. Or to provide entertainment for the audience, admittedly. But who wants to do that? But even, you know, apart from that, on like a personal level, you know, I see most games, especially indie games, coming from the perspective of like, you know, turning a profit and being able to continue operations would be nice, but this is not something where like, you know, a group of C-level executives got together and said the market conditions are right for a new Mirror's Edge. You know, it's something where they went, I really loved playing Earthbound as a kid, so I thought maybe I'd make my own kind of Earthbound style game. So I do try to look for the good in games. Never would I be like, you know, hey, it's a piece of garbage, but buy it anyway because they're struggling. But at the same time, it's like, you know, I try to see the value that they see in the game as well. Anyway, that was an extremely strong and fast run. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya!